Good morning, Panthers. It's Leilani.
And Kim.
Today we're here with Mr. Melgares.
How are you? It's great to be interviewing you today.
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good.
Good. You doing okay?
Yes, I'm doing okay myself too.
Great.
It has been brought to our attention that although you might have seen Mr. Melgares around campus, some of us aren't clear on who he is and what he does at our school.
Luckily, student leadership set up an interview with Mr. Melgares so we could all get to know him and his important role here at TAS.
Mr. Melgares, are you ready to get started?
Let's do it.
Awesome. Let's begin with our first question.
What does a school CEO do?
Oh, that's a great question. So, as a CEO, I am in charge of everything in our organization. So, everything across the 3 schools, so ACES, TAS, and WAS. And really, at the end of the day, my main responsibility is ensuring that you all and every single one of our 1,700 students are being prepared for college. And so that means that we have strong, engaging, rigorous classrooms. That means that you're being challenged and growing to make sure that when you get to college, you are prepared for college so that you can graduate from college and then go out and hopefully make a lot of money somewhere.
How did you become the CEO of your school?
Started as a teacher, so I used to teach 7th grade, math mostly. And then I became a dean of culture, and then I was an assistant principal. Then I worked as a director of math for an organization called Alliance College Ready Public Schools, and then I was the vice president of teaching and learning, and then ended up here as of last July.
That's good. What's your favorite part of working at your school?
The students. I think the best part of my day is the morning, being able to walk in, seeing people outside, greeting students, saying hi to parents, walking in, seeing kids playing volleyball. Just the joy of students, I think, is my favorite part.
What are some big goals you have for your school?
Well, we're aiming to be the #1 school system in the state of California, which means that over the next 5 years, we want to have the highest test scores, the highest learning outcomes, which is really important that in order to get there, that we are really being challenged in our classrooms every single day and learning a great amount.
What do you like most about working with students?
I think students are really funny. Students make me laugh. I think that's the best part. So I always just appreciate students that can make me laugh or make me think or just say hi in the morning or at any point throughout the day.
How do you make our school a better place for everybody?
Oof, that's a great question. I think it's from my vantage point, I always try to put myself in the shoes of a student. So if that's a pre-K 4-year-old student or TK, a middle school 12-year-old or a high school 18-year-old, 17-year-old, I'm always trying to think about what is the type of experience that a student would want and deserves. And so that means academically, a lot of what I've spoken about is in the classroom, but it's also outside of the classroom. So the kind of sports that are offered, the kind of music, the kind of digital arts, the kind of just like, is this a place where people feel happy and have friends and feel connected to the staff? Like, those are the types of things that for every single one of our 1,700 students is really important for me.
Good. How do you help teachers do their best?
Well, one, we are very, very, very lucky to have phenomenal teachers and admin and just staff across the board. We have over 250 employees here in our organization, and we're very fortunate to have people that are very caring and committed to students and to our mission and to our work. Part of what we have been doing is you might see me in classrooms from time to time, and often walking with an administrator or a coach. And part of what we're doing is we focus a lot in ensuring that just as you all are learners as students, that all the adults in the schools are also learners, and that's myself included. And so a lot of what we do is we do a lot of learning together and a lot of what are the kids supposed to learn on this day or during this time period, and let's look at their data. So you take these quizzes and these assessments. Part of what we do is we look at that data to try to see, is everybody learning and on track towards ultimately college, and if not, what can we do better to support the students? And so that's a lot of what we spend our time doing.
What do you remember most about being a kid in school?
I remember I was really bored. Most of my school starting, I liked elementary school, and then starting in sixth grade, middle school through high school, I was honestly pretty bored most of the time. And I think there's a way that we can do this, do education and educate students in a way that's rigorous and also engaging. Um, but I remember being bored a lot of the time.
What do you think makes our school special?
I think first, more than anything, it's the students. We have really great students, just really good people here in the organization. And I think our space, like I've worked in a lot of charter schools, and this is the only school I've ever worked at that has this kind of space where you have a giant courtyard where there's a basketball gym and there's, you can play volleyball inside. We have a field outside. Like most charter schools, unfortunately, don't have that kind of space. So I think it's our people, it's our facilities, and I think it's our mission of ensuring that every single one of our students graduates from college, not just goes to college, but graduates from college.
What's the hardest part of your job?
uh, so I think the hardest part, and is actually what I also find the most exciting. I really like to figure out things and systems, and so a lot of what my job is I have to make decisions on pretty important decisions about the organization. And you're doing this in often as a CEO, you're making decisions, but you don't have complete information, and so you're trying to make the best decision with kids' best interests at your heart, but you don't have all the information, and you have to make a decision in a certain amount of time. And then sometimes you get it right, and sometimes you get it wrong, and that impacts people. And so I think for me, the most difficult thing is when making a decision, you try to make the best decision based on the information that you have, based on the evidence that you have, and sometimes you get it wrong, and that impacts people's lives. And so that's, I think, is the most difficult part, when you get it wrong.
Um, do you ever meet with other school leaders? What do you guys talk about?
You mean like school leaders here in the organization or other organizations?
Could be either both.
Yeah. So we meet. So the school lead, like the principals and like the APs, just like everybody, the coaches, we get together at least once a month, and we do a lot of learning together around instruction and how to improve our instructional systems for all of our students. I do meet with other CEOs. We all kind of know each other, and especially the ones in this city, and then a lot of the principals. And I'm constantly asking them questions and picking their brain, like, how do you do this? Or here's a challenge we're facing. How can we better do this? Like, what are you doing this? So there's a lot of, I pick their brains a lot.
What is one thing you wish students knew about you?
That's a great question. So I'll tell you. So I grew up not too far from here in East Hollywood, and my parents are from El Salvador and came here in 1980, which now I think it was like 44 years ago. And so I was born here in LA, and my mom cleaned houses and still cleans houses to this day. And when I was a kid, we couldn't afford a car, so we used to take the bus to the west side, wealthier west side homes, and I spent a lot of my time cleaning houses with my mom as a kid, and I was terrible at it, which is why I think I ended up paying more attention in school, because I knew that life wasn't for me. But college changed my life, and that's why I do what I do now.
If you can add one thing to our school, what would it be?
Well, listen, I'm trying to figure out what we need to do with that empty lot over there. We need to build something there that's going to be best for the kids and the community. And so, any ideas that you all have, come up and tell me when you see me.
How do you make decisions that affect the whole school?
It's a great question. I think it starts with values and beliefs, and for me, like, the mission is always center of mind. Our organization's mission is to make sure that all of you, our students, go to college, are prepared, you feel like you fit in when you get there, you do well, you graduate, and then you have the world open up to you. Because the reality is that a college degree is the minimum requirement to even apply for a higher paying job. And so our entire mission is, when making decisions, I always keep that mission at heart. Like ultimately, at the end of the day, my question I always ask myself and the staff is, what's best for students? And so if we think that this is what's best for students, then that's what we're gonna do.
What do you think is the most important lesson for students to learn?
I think it's really important to be okay with making mistakes and getting stuff wrong. I think sometimes, a lot of times, I see students, and myself included when I was younger, was if we were asked a question, we didn't want to look. I didn't want to look like, oh, doesn't know what he's doing, doesn't know the answer, and he's gonna just be embarrassed if he answers it wrong. Like, I actually think one of the most important attributes I think in my life and my career has been being okay with getting something wrong and then learning from it and being given feedback of like, hey, that's not going to work or that doesn't work. And for students, it's the same thing. When you're doing math, for instance, it's okay to get it wrong the first time. It's okay if you think differently about it. But the cool thing is the way the brain works is when you get something wrong and then you find a correct answer, then your brain is gonna better internalize and learn that, and you're gonna apply that lesson in the future. So I think it's really important to do things. It's okay to get things wrong and learn from it.
Thank you for your time and allowing us to interview today.
Is there anything you would like to add before our interview comes to an end?
No, just appreciate your time and give me your ideas on what you want to do with that lot.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Panthers, now that we have gotten to know a little more about Mr. Melgares,
Don't be shy to stop and say hello to him whenever you see him.